Hi everyone, I'm Evan Mitchell, Music Director of the Kingston Symphony Orchestra, and I'm here today with Erika Sloos, who is our Assistant Concertmaster. Hi Erika, welcome to Symphony Sundays.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about Carmina Burana today, and it's something that sort of represents, in terms of the online video series that we do, a bit of a full circle. Because when you first came to the orchestra, we did a little video interview, one of our Meet the Musicians videos, introducing all of the Kingston Symphony audiences to you. And you mentioned that one of the pieces you were looking forward to playing the most that season was Carmina Burana. So what is it about Carmina that you find most interesting, most appealing?
You know, it's interesting. I heard it first when I was probably in middle school, and I think it's the first piece of music that I actually felt on more of an emotional level. I grew up in a family of musicians, and so, and I started piano and violin at age 3, so music was just something I did, not something I felt or experienced, really. So this was sort of my first recollection of a piece that was, that I connected with on a deeper level. It has such powerful music, and so yeah, that was very memorable for me.
I'd be willing to bet that was an important moment, the sort of hearing Carmina and then having that emotional reaction. I mean, personally, I've even talked on this video series about how I really try to think of in terms of my priorities as focusing on the emotional impact and the emotional arc of the storytelling in music as one of the things that I'm really trying to bring out in a performance. And so I think that would be a pretty profound thing to experience as a young person, to experience the first listening of Carmina and to react to it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd been to so many classical music concerts before that, and I remember just always being so bored. When you're little and you're dragged to these concerts, you just kind of, you sit there and you're quiet, but to actually be able to enjoy an entire performance of something and remember that, it was definitely a really profound experience.
Well, now that we've played it, was this your first time playing Carmina Burana in the orchestral setting?
Yes.
What was we actually did two performances of it as well. What was that experience like? Did it live up to your expectation?
It did. It was such an incredible experience. It's so different to be on the middle of the stage instead of in the audience, and to actually hear it all around me, kind of surround sound experience was a really neat thing to experience. I could feel it the same way I felt it, but almost magnified because I was in the middle of it.
Well, that's great. Now, this piece, particularly for the violins, is it's really challenging. It has all sorts of stylistic changes throughout. It jumps from what you consider traditional classical or romantic violin playing to some contemporary techniques and colors. And in the excerpt that we're going to play, some rustic fiddle chops. How does that present a challenge for you, and what's that like as a violinist?
Yeah, it's interesting. The challenge was almost less of the technical aspect. There were some, like you said, extended techniques, some challenging technical places, but I think that the hardest part was that we would have long passages of very simple playing, or even just not playing for long bits of the piece, and then all of a sudden up comes like you were saying, kind of like a fiddle passage or something much more challenging. So I think it was a very musical roller coaster in that way of you can't get too comfortable when you're not playing, because the next page could be something completely different, and really, it was more of a mental game than a technical violin game, I think.
Yeah, Carmina is it's a wonderful piece. It's also a very strange piece, and that was something that I hadn't totally appreciated until this past performance where we did Carmina was my first time conducting the piece. And I had prepared it, I had covered it in my residencies with the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra, and it's a piece that I'm very familiar with. I've actually played, I think there are at least 6 percussionists and 6 percussion parts in Carmina, and I've played them all. I'm very familiar with the piece. But conducting it, it's almost as though it wasn't put together by a human being. It's really a remarkable thing, but there's just something so bizarre about the elements of just the sudden challenge, or the feast or famine, the repetition of material, and these sorts of things. But it's all of this soup comes together in truly one of the most memorable orchestral and choral experiences, I think. I'm delighted whenever Carmina comes by, because I think that it is truly a masterpiece. So I think you made a very good choice there with a piece to be looking forward to.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we're going to be listening now to the instrumental number. This is about, I think, a third of the way through Carmina Burana. It is a dance, peasant dance in the meadow, one of my favorite selections from this incredible piece. Thanks a lot, Erika. It's always wonderful to speak with you about music, and I look forward to seeing you on stage as soon as we possibly can.
Thank you so much.